Shannon, what does this tell you?
It's harder to balance a team with egos than people actually realize. Skip, it's hard. Kevin Durant put this team together. Kevin Durant put this team together. He's the de facto best player, and there's no question about that.
How do you figure he put it together?
Hold on, is James Harden there? So, hold on. He called Bobby Marks and says, okay, he okayed the trade. He also called Bobby Marks and says, okay, I'm okaying the trade for him to come. The reason Kyrie is there, if Kevin Durant says, look, I'm coming to Brooklyn, but I want you to sign X instead of Kyrie. Kyrie is not in Brooklyn. X is in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant put this team together. If LeBron James, you say LeBron put the Miami Heat together, let that thing had blown up. It goes to show you how hard it is, Skip, because they stayed together for 4 years. You saw Golden State. Kevin Durant wanted to put a team together outside of Golden State that says, hey, I can do this too.
Yep.
LeBron did it. Bob Myers did a great job. But, Skip, the thing when you get super teams like this, everybody has to sacrifice.
Sure.
And everybody has to believe everybody is sacrificing. The moment Kyrie did not get that vaccine, James Harden said, you're not sacrificing. Now, you tell us you want to sacrifice. I see KD got it. I see everybody else got it. I saw Kyrie 2 weeks. He ain't tell the front office. He tell his teammates, bro, I need some time away.
Yep.
That's not sacrificing.
Okay.
You're looking at the betterment of you for you. James Harden said, hold on. And I get it. People say, well, James Harden quit on Houston. He quit on Brooklyn. Kyrie quit on Cleveland, quit on Boston. So what's to say? But Kevin Durant is finding out that it's really hard to keep things together because, Skip, even after the third, we started hearing things in that third season before that blow up with Draymond that, feeling some type of way. I don't, the adulation that Steph gets, I'm not going to get that because this is not my team. So he went, that's his team. Brooklyn is his team. And if LeBron James put together a super team and that thing imploded after a year and a half, whoo, and then James Harden said, my first choice was to go to Philly. That's what he said. Now, if it's a lie, he told it. Now, you made a big old deal about Paul George not wanting to go play with LeBron.
Definitely.
Oh, we'll make a big deal about James Harden wanting to go play with Joel Embiid. He said, I want to go with Joe. He didn't call him Joel. He said Joe. That's what they call him.
Yep.
Big Joe.
They call him Joe. Everybody calls him Joe.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah. So Joe.
Yeah.
He wanted to play with Joe, not the best player. Hold on. You mean to tell me somebody doesn't want to play with the best player in the NBA? James Harden didn't. Skip, this was bound to end the moment Kyrie didn't get that vaccination because James Harden said, I thought we were all in this together. I thought we all wanted the same thing. He didn't sign up for a part-time player, and that's what he was getting. I don't know anybody is that we're trying to accomplish something, but you could only play on the road. Well, hell, we got 41 games at home. What the hell we supposed to do with you? What the hell we got going on, Skip? That's what happened. Their egos, it's now reported that the style of offense, the style of play they were going to have, KD wanted free flow like they had in Golden State. James is more of an ISO, but I thought James had done a great job blending in, Skip. You look there, he came to last year, he finished third in MVP. So clearly he could play a style, but it's hard, Skip. It's hard when you got egos like this because everybody has been the man elsewhere.
Yep.
Now, you bring 3 men. That's why I take my hat off to Chris Bosh, who was the man in Toronto. D. Wade had won a championship, a finals MVP in Miami. It was Wade County. And then LeBron, we know what LeBron was. And guess what? D. Wade say, LeBron, you the best damn player. We'll follow you. Chris Bosh say, bro, do you. Somebody wasn't willing to say, do you. So everybody's got to be willing to make a sacrifice. And I'm not so sure everybody with that big 3 in Brooklyn was willing to make those sacrifices.
Who was the leader of the Heatles, as they were first called when LeBron went there? Who was the leader of that team? It was D. Wade. Whose winners' intangibles were much higher than either Kyrie's or James Harden's? Chris Bosh, because he's a really good guy.
Yes.
He was willing to do whatever it took.
Yes.
And I was hard on him early because everybody was hard on him because he was the third wheel and he was the most glaringly easy target when they got off to that horrible
I
early
think they were
start.
started out 9-8.
Yeah, and they lost a Monday night game at home to Portland,
Yes.
and they were big favorite. I think they might even been double-digit favorites to win that game.
Chris Bosh was a 2010 guy. People don't realize that in Portland.
He was an all-star.
And you know the third guy, Skip, with LeBron, Kevin Love. Remember Kevin Love was a 26 and 14 guy.
He was. You have to have high winners intangibles to blend the three.
Yes.
And obviously, they had to both defer to LeBron, to you be you. You do what you've been doing in Cleveland. Just go ahead.
Yes.
We'll figure this. It took a little while.
Yes.
And it took a whole
year.
It took a
finals loss.
The finals was a
disaster.
Disaster for LeBron. It was. Okay. So now, what was happening here this year? Well, let's start with the fact that Kevin wanted to go to the Knicks. So Kevin, shockingly to me, deferred to Kyrie and said, okay, if you want to go to Brooklyn, I'll go to Brooklyn.
Right.
Kevin's attitude was, I just won back-to-back finals MVPs.
Right.
I got my rings. I got 2. I'm good to go here.
KD a made man wherever he goes.
Wherever he goes. And he said, look, I love you, man. If you really want to go to Brooklyn, let's just go to Brooklyn.
Right.
Then. So he did not Bigfoot Kyrie and say, we got to turn the Knicks. We could save the Mecca of basketball.
Right.
We could turn around. We'd be the biggest stars in the history of New York City basketball if we could make the Knicks champions.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And they would have been. But they go to Brooklyn.
Right.
Okay. James was angling to come there. James just wanted out. He wanted to go, I'm sure because of Daryl Morey, that he wanted to go to Philly first.
Familiarity.
But he just wanted out of Houston.
Correct. I agree with that.
And the option of, wow, I could pair up with those guys.
Right.
We could go big super team. And I think even you acknowledged, well, this is the greatest
we had never seen anything like
trio
this.
of basketball talent we'd ever seen.
Yeah.
On just pure offensive scoring talent. We've never seen anything like those three, right?
Yeah, all three guys are sensational one-on-one.
Okay. So listen, I trust Kevin Durant, as I've told you from the start. We're going to get deeper into this versus Giannis, but I trust his winners intangibles way beyond Kyrie's and 100,000 miles beyond James Harden. So according to this report, they had played the year before through the offseason. They'd gotten together and played a lot of pickup basketball.
Right.
And for some reason, this past offseason, James wouldn't show up for any of their runs. You know, like out here at UCLA, he just wouldn't show up.
Right.
But when he did show up for training camp, Kevin was very upset, according to the report, that he was way out of shape. And you could see that because he just lets himself go.
Right.
He is the flip side of LeBron James in offseason workouts, right? And then it started to irk Kevin that James started openly talking about testing the free agent market after this year.
Yeah.
Because it's just a blow to your ego. Like, well, I thought we were all in this together. Why would you start publicly acknowledging that, right?
Yeah.
And
he said, I've never been a free agent before.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, and it did start, I give you full credit for what you said about it all started with Kyrie and the vax mandate.
Yeah.
Okay. If you alleviate that, maybe they're still there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because James Harden believes everybody's bought in.
Yeah.
James Harden said, how can we all buy in if you're not doing Kevin Durant? If they said Kevin Durant, it's going to increase your chance of winning a championship if you sleep at Barclays. Kevin Durant's getting a suite at Barclays and he's staying there. I've never worried about Kevin Durant and him buying into anything. Kevin Durant don't want to lead. Kevin Durant just want to hoop. Y'all let whoever, Bobby Marks, but Skip, think about it. 1 week into when they signed him, what did Kyrie say? We don't even need a coach.
He did.
How the hell that going to play?
Yep, I agree. Yet, there was a turning point when James Harden flat out quit on his second team in 2 years. And because of that, I'm out on him. I'm done with him because in the basketball context, he's a bad guy. I don't mean it in
he's
the
not
life
a bad
context.
person.
I'm talking about as a teammate.
Yes.
As somebody that you can quote unquote count on or not count on. He's a bad guy.
Right.
He's trouble waiting to happen. He will either disappoint you or just completely leave you flat when you least expect it.
Well, he's under immense pressure, Skip. Like you said, he quit on the way in Houston. Okay, they said, okay, you couldn't win in Houston. So they had robbed you, but Brooklyn.
We don't have time to go through all the chapter and verse of what started happening down the stretch for the Brooklyn Nets here. with James being late to games, showing up at halftime for games, and then he has been notorious for this his whole career. But if you play at San Antonio, he's going to take a little side trip and leave the team as it goes on to Denver. He's going to Houston to club.
Yeah.
And he's just going to do it. And he's been doing it his whole career.
But everybody know James Harden in the club.
Okay, I got
everybody know James Harden. We call him adult entertainment businesses now.
It's one of those. Yes, correct.
He been that way.
And if you're going to play at Utah, he's going to take a left turn out of the locker room, and he's got his private plane waiting and fueled up for him, and he's going to Vegas.
Yeah, baby.
It's close.
James Harden sound like my type of guy. James, look your boy up now.
Yeah,
your boy like to party too.
He might take you along for the ride sometime.
But hold on. I thought as long as you balling, you hooping, it didn't matter. James Harden was balling, he was hooping, but he became very unhappy. He's like, Skip, he was like, well, Kyrie ain't all in.